Should I? Yeah, fuck it. YOLO. All right, man. We're officially recording. Welcome to In the Box Collection with the host of Bubblegum and Leather, Andrew Willison. Actually, we're doing this for both of you. So, do you want to do an intro or?
Yeah, we can. We're doing a little dual podcast. We've done it before, so
Yeah.
we're gonna run this on Inside the Bubble and In the Box Collection. Try to cross promote a little bit and get people to check out your YouTube and check out my podcast.
Right, and dude, I really like your podcast, and I swear that I'm sorry that I'm not going to spend enough time in my car to listen to it on Spotify. But Jesus was looking for it on Apple, so I was going to ask you about that. Is it on Apple Play?
Yeah, it's on Apple Podcasts too, and you can find it. I guess what I've been told is that if you put bubblegum as two different words, it won't come up. So you have to make sure you put bubblegum all one word. So that's my word of advice today to the people.
All right, people, you got to check it out. If you guys got Apple, Spotify, and Apple, make sure that you guys go into and find Mr. Bubblegum and Leather, Bubblegum, all one word. And In the Box Collection, we're not on Spotify. We know how to be on it. We're choosing to just kind of stick to YouTube for the time being. I don't know why. All right. Yeah. But yeah, Bubblegum and Leather, Andrew, and yours truly. Okay, man. So first things first, thank you for being back on the podcast. And I know we got some fun topics. It's been a while since we've both been out here together. I don't know where you want to start, but I also want to start with, man, how you doing, man? How's life? Let's give the people a couple of minutes for the life of Bubblegum and Leather. You guys' new things. I love the new shirt. I think you guys saw my video for the most of the part.
Yeah, thanks for shouting us out on the TikTok, which I still have to get on, by the way. I have not gotten on. You've been still telling me that I need to do it. So I'll put it on my list. I'll get it out there. But as far as how are things going, it's pretty busy. I haven't done a podcast in a couple of weeks, so I guess I should apologize for that too. You and I have been trying to get together, but schedules are nuts. And baseball started and basketball's going strong, so like you said, we have a ton to talk about. But on the bubblegum side, just pumping stuff into the eBay store, getting a bunch of baseball up, for the start of the season. Put up a nice little Juan Soto 22 out of 25 autographs. So see how that does, and was excited to watch baseball with fans this weekend. That was nice.
That was pretty nice. Like you didn't notice how much of at least for me, I didn't notice how much it stood out that there were no fans to those fans, which actually makes sense because, you get the feeds from other people, you get the pictures, people at the stadium, like everybody sharing even with social distancing, it's good to see, because I can't be there, like I live far away, so I can't be at Yankee Stadium, but, Mr. John or Brian, I'm sure he can be out there, or Jesus or Luis or somebody else. They can be out there like experiencing that for us, and that makes me feel better about everything else for it.
Yeah, the community part of it was lost last year, so it's like that. At least that's back now.
All right, I want you to give me 1 second over here. I just got to quick answer the door really quick, but keep it going, man. Keep it going with Bubblegum and Leather. I'll be back in 60 seconds.
All right, I can do this. This will be my solo moment. So. We'll talk a little bit about some of the things that are upcoming on the Bubblegum and Leather Inside the Bubble podcast, just while Francis takes care of that little business there. So like he mentioned, you can check it out on Spotify. If you're listening to it on YouTube, please like and subscribe mine. And if you're listening to it on Inside the Bubble, please follow Francis and his group. He's already back. So I was just telling everyone to follow Francis. And that was a quick little exit for you. So I was just shouting out our stuff again.
I appreciate that. As you guys know, like we're always busy. So, yeah, man, baseball's back. Bubblegum and Leather doing big things. Check them out as well. I didn't know you were talking about, so I'm going to shout you out as well. So everybody check out Bubblegum and Leather. And yeah, man, we're right about the time. We can get the real podcast and the real sports talk started with baseball being the first weekend, right? 3 games down. Lots of excitement.
Yeah. So, did anything catch your eye? Any players? The one thing that everyone's talking about is the Lewis Robert ball bouncing off his hat. I saw you did the little video on that. He's getting compared to Jose Canseco, which that's not what you want, right?
That was my first train of thought for it, and I don't want to be like, oh yeah, Luis Robert missed that. I'm like, dude, this guy last year, his cards are selling So I'll be like a hypocrite until you're like, oh yeah, Jose Canseco, but please buy my Luis Roberts cards that I just submitted to GMA that are coming back this week. So, I think it's funny, and I didn't see it as that much of a big deal because it's like the first week, right? So I watched the Yankees game, of course, and I saw Gleyber Torres. It was playing like shortstop or third base, and completely and entirely missed the first baseman. Like it wasn't even close. Like the ball was low, and it wasn't low. It was going to bounce and get to the first base, but it was low, it was bad. There was a lot of players out there that were making like little tiny kinks of it. Luis Roberts just happened to stand out. I mean, we're going to ignore the Dodgers' little home run concept for it that with Turner and Bellinger.
Right.
There's a lot of small things. I think that people blew it out of proportion. It was pretty funny. Shout out to Luis Robert. I'm sure he's not going to miss one again. So, yeah, that was pretty funny.
I had a similar moment as a Reds fan. We're trying out Suarez at shortstop this year. He's traditionally a third baseman, and he booted a couple balls on opening day trying to play shortstop. But like you said, it's probably just a little bit of early season jitters. I kind of went nuts on him, and now I feel a little bad. Like I should have held back and gave him a chance for a minute. But because the Reds ended up beating the Cardinals 2 out of 3, so it was good weekend for a Reds fan. How did the Yankees do?
We went 1-2. I was gonna go, guys. I was frustrated with that Gleyber Torres project. Like I'm sure you were probably with Suarez, but at the same time, I was more worried about the Yankees pitching, and it feels like nobody's talking about it. I'm like, look, we have like 2 starters, and the rest of these guys are pretty fresh. They're pretty new and things like that. So everybody was focused on the Yankees not being able to hit shit, aka Aaron Judge and Carlos Stanton going like 0-15. But I was more worried about the pitching. So
sure. I caught a little bit of the highlights, the game that Domingo Germán pitched, and man, Vladimir Guerrero just hit one into like the 8th deck against him. It was like just a power move. that
was bittersweet because I got Guerrero on my fantasy team, and then I'm like a Yankees fan and watching the Yankees, and I'm over here like, bro, thank you, but like no thank you. Like I just need you to like just do it next week against anybody else.
It's the worst when your team's playing against someone that you like to. I like Tatis and Bichette, which so the Reds don't have to play Bichette, but it's going to be tough when they play against the Padres. I'll be like, yeah, I guess hit a home run if we're beating you, but don't hit one, if it's a close game or whatever.
Don't hit that walk-off home run to win the game, buddy. You can keep that to yourself.
We don't need that.
So yeah, like in terms of like teams that I watched, the Yankees, in my opinion, they did pretty good. I was really surprised by what's his name? The pitcher of the Yankees just picked up the one who started game 2. I forgot his name. I wasn't happy with I'm happy being 1-2 playing against the Tampa Bay. I'm dying today. Playing against the Blue Jays, I do feel like the Blue Jays are a bit of a contender team. But I feel like the Yankees did pretty good. I think that the Yankees always get set up for unrealistic expectations based on the simple fact that that's me. Based on the simple fact that it's the Yankees, so everybody's always like, oh, the Yankees are like the top of the crowd. I'm like, they are, but realistically, they're like a mid-tier team right now. But I'm happy the Red Sox went 0-3. Really happy about that.
Yeah, you can take some joy in that for sure.
What else? Oh, did you see what happened to Ohtani? How
I did. He kind of came back strong this weekend. Wow.
Yeah, he fastest pitch, fastest exiting ball, and then he gets slide into, but he's okay, so that's definitely a plus.
Yeah, and Pujols hit one out too. So the Angels they looked a little stout first weekend.
Yeah.
I read that Pujols that's his 664th, he's getting up there now. He's going to be knocking down the door.
He should be and like I think he's just a great player. People don't talk about him enough, and obviously in the cards world, nobody's looking for an Albert Pujols, 2021 Top Series 1 card, unfortunately. But dude is a Hall of Famer. What else stood out to you in the opening weekend? Like, what was your favorite thing about it? We still have a couple of teams to watch play, but yeah.
Outside of the Reds beating the Cardinals, which is always that's my favorite thing of anything. But
right.
I was encouraged with some of the young guys outside of Luis Robert. Ryan Mountcastle had a couple good games. He's been getting a lot of pub in the card market. And then Bo Bichette played well the first series against your Yankees. So a couple of the guys that I'm looking at that I have a lot of cards of sitting here. They kind of impressed me early on. But the other thing I noticed was just what you said: a little bit of rusty fielding, a little bit of stupid mistakes, and a lot of games that looked like they ended up 12-8 instead of 2-1.
Yeah, I do think there's one big thing about the first week of baseball, like just a small cake for it. But yeah, like I said, a lot of guys that people were not talking about early on are doing good, and some of the guys that people were talking about, people were big on Ryan Mountcastle, and the Orioles are 3-0, and they're gonna go face my Yankees, and they're about to fall back to 3-3 because let's get realistic, like the Yankees are not gonna go 1-2 anytime soon. So versus the Blue Jays, yeah.
I mean, I guarantee you they didn't expect to, anyone didn't expect to lose 3 to the Orioles because, even though they have a lot of good young players, I think they were still projected to finish near the bottom of the division. So, that's a surprising outcome for them to be 3-0.
There were some memes out there about John Means. Yeah.
Memes of John Means.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Personally, I got to backtrack a little bit and talk about the Yankees, of course. But Gary Sanchez, man, shout out to Gary Sanchez. He takes so much heat for the Yankees, and shout out to his translator who has to translate all that heat that he takes for the Yankees. But hitting home runs in the first and the second game, yeah, that's my boy. Like I have a Gary Sanchez T-shirt, I got hats. But is there any team out there that you look like, damn, that team is completely and entirely complete? Because like the Astros look good going to 4-0. Alvarez was just demolishing teams the first couple games.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, hard, like we said, to take anything out of the first weekend, to be too much, too early. But yeah, like you said, Astros look good. There's a couple teams that played really well. I'm really interested still to see how the Mets do with Lindor and their pitching. I think that's a really good team too.
I got in an argument with somebody on some page. It might have been Discord or Facebook around the Mets. I'm like, don't sleep on the Mets. Like the Mets probably, when healthy, they have one of the best lineups and one of the best pitching squads in baseball. When healthy, of course. And it's really sucks saying it from like a Yankees fans, and because Robinson Cano just got busted again for steroids. But the point is, don't sleep on the Mets. The Mets have great, and Lindor was a great sign. Pete Alonso. They haven't even played yet either. That's another thing. It's one of the things that of course, post games getting postponed. Atlanta Braves are 0-3. Speaking of the Mets in that same division, hell, the Nationals hasn't played either. Sorry, I was talking about the Mets, and I started looking at the standings of it. I'm like, man, I didn't notice there were that many postponed games. But back to the Mets, the point of the Mets, don't sleep on the Mets. The Mets are a good team, and they have solid players. And I also have like 5 to 10 Pete Alonso cards, and I'm counting on to sell for at least $20. So
yeah. See, we can just pimp our favorite players so that their card values go up. That's what this podcast can be all about.
Yeah, it can be like, hey, but I need you to have like 2 to 3 good games, so that way I can sell your shit. Okay.
That's right. By the way, your cards are in QA check. We should talk about that. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Are you nervous? Do you have sweaty palms?
Honestly, completely totally honest, I did not expect this to happen. And shout out. Can I take like 1 minute to apologize to PSA? I'll write it down. 1332, 1336 is my apology to PSA. I'm sorry.
The last we left off was with Francis saying PSA doesn't give an F about you, so this should be interesting.
So, from the looks of it, the executives at PSA, they were like, who the fuck is Francis Estepan with InTheBox collection? And obviously, I'm in the register. My email's there. It's not just that hard to find. They were like, oh, this fucker that sent 4 cards, this minimal asshole. He said, we don't care about him. So put him on the top of the queue, fact track his shit. And they'll probably watch some more of the videos because they'll sell your Bubblegum and Leather. And they were like, yo, who is Bubblegum and Leather? And they also fast track your stuff because your stuff got pretty good.
I'm in QA check now too on an order that somehow skipped 10 or 12 other ones that I had ahead of it. But yeah, this one got the special treatment. So whatever you did, if you put one of mine with yours, I appreciate it, brother.
I'm telling you, man, like my podcast has always been blackball, but we see results. And that's why the people keep coming back to it. Like, the best feedback that I've got from the podcast is somebody like, yo, man, you said some shit, and then like 14 days later, PSA got their shit together, okay? And now everybody that was
who are
like,
you putting on notice next then? Who's next up?
So, okay, so first of all, my apology. I'm sorry to PSA for saying you don't give a fuck about us. In reality, you only care about some of us. My bad.
The chosen few.
Yeah, I do believe that PSA is making improvements, and we talked about it. And also, they stopped everything. So it's not like they had anything coming in. They just had to deal with whatever was in there. So shout out to PSA for fixing their own stuff and like not talking about it, because I guess they could have let us know the plan. But maybe with, them stopping, realizing like, hey, we may have gone a little too, we may flex too hard with the 100 or with the price increases. Let's give people a discount to either get the membership or get some other shit, get some perks like that. So yeah, I'm sorry, PSA. Sorry, not sorry. Hashtag Demi Lovato. Sorry, not sorry. But thank you, PSA, for getting my shit together. Hopefully you give me some 9s or 10s. More than likely, after they saw that shit, they were like, oh, bro, yeah, we're going to fast track your shit and give you 7s. So then I'm going to have to crack some PSA cards and sell them raw. So whatever.
Yeah, I guess they showed you. So you've apologized now, though. So we have it on record. Better not say anything bad about him again when you're selling that Tim Herbert for $1 billion, whatever it's going to be.
Yeah, all right. Shout out to Tim over at PSA. How do you feel, man? You sent 24 cards. Like I send 4 cards, but we are on like different tiers of budget. So you're like loaded, and I'm over here, living with the slumps. 24 cards. I haven't seen your list. I know it's a lot easier for me to show you my list. Is only 4. How do you feel about your 24 cards?
Well, 24 is the biggest one I've done on a regular. I've done, more than that on a economy order, because the minimum quantity used to be 20. But that's the most I've had. Now, 4 of them are from Bubblegum and Leather members that they had me send in. So only 20 of them are actually mine. But it's some of my best stuff. So I'll be honest, it's nerve-wracking. I had one bad experience already with some Kobe's I sent in that I didn't look at hard enough. But this batch I looked at very closely. I studied it very carefully. So if it comes back poorly, I don't know, man. I might be going to move to Idaho and hang out with you guys.
Come kick it, man. Come kick it. It's scary that way. But by the way, shout out to you, man, because we talked about that on the podcast, and you were talking to people about it. Like, hey, if we pull a card that you like, we'll submit it to PSA for you, and we'll have that back. So it looks like that's working out for you. Also, you said that did they raise the limit on how many you can send on economy, or are you talking about just because of the fact that
they actually lowered it? So it used to be 20, and now you can't send it in at all right now. But whenever they start taking it again, they had moved the minimum quantity down from 20 to 10. But obviously, if you don't do that, then your only option, like you have stated in your video, is $100. I mean, who's going to do that? Who's going to be able to afford that? No one.
I will.
That's the other thing that's so nerve-wracking about what you and I have there right now, is that we were so fortunate to get in before the price increase and before they stopped taking the orders, that this has the potential to really make you and I, a decent little slice of money. So it's quite nerve-wracking.
And this is one of the things I'm bittersweet about it, because I was telling the people that I work with before, I'm like, hey man, let's do this. Like, shit is going to hit the fan. Like, you guys see the volume of people going to the store. It's not just flippers, but it's also people getting smarter in the game. And I'm not the smartest one, man. My brain cells, like, they function, but they don't function as fast as some other people. So imagine, like, we were able to get it in time, right? But imagine, Jose out there who just like, holy shit, bro, there's this thing called PSA, and if I send my cards in for $50, then I pretty much just times my profit by 200-300% what the cards would be worth raw. So, what the card would be sold raw, right? And he probably sent out like 50 cards right before the time deadline. So shout out to Jose for just killing it out for all of us. When I tried telling the people, like, hey man, this is the time to do it. Like, if you guys don't see the market being flooded, you guys should. It's not just like it. The card market has spread like a disease. Like, I don't want to say COVID is really like a bad comparison to it, but it has spread. Like everybody's doing it now. It's not just because we're doing it with sports. But imagine people jumping into it for like Pokemon cards. Pokemon cards are worth a lot more than sports cards. Like how many Charizards out there are worth more than, you know, a Joe Burrow or Jordan Love that are not going to go away? Pikachu does not have a rookie card, but Pikachu's not going away.
No, and so, you're right. And that's why, like, I think we say it all the time. There's plenty for everyone to eat, you know, like there's enough out there for everyone. And that's, like you said, I'm not even doing the Pokemon or the comic books or haven't delved into any of that yet. But I have a question for you. So,
yes.
And I saw, you know, I definitely saw your video. That's why I was jabbing you a little bit. It was a really funny video. But, you know, right
SGC's
after
next.
all that went down, SGC raised their prices.
So,
you know, how do you feel about that? What are you going to put them on notice now?
I did put them on notice to $75 for it. So that was, I don't think you've seen my last video. So my last video is the SGC reaction for you. I'll send you the link for it. So my last video, yes, I put SGC on lockdown for the $75 that they did. And it was a rough day. So I just needed to talk. I think like that day I just needed to talk to somebody, and I just like put it on like a 8-minute video and dropped like 27 fuckwords. But SGC,
Lamellas, 9.5 and 10. Well, one's gone now, right?
Yeah, one's already gone. Yeah.
With one.
That was the plan from the beginning. That's the reason why I take the strategy. I'll send out a couple cards. I'll sell one to break even, take the cost out of it. You know, get to the shipping into it. And
that's the
next
smartest way to do it. It's like, and honestly, like, and I know we don't want to spend the whole time talking about PSA, but it's like fascinating all the way that the grading companies react, because we saw SGC raise their prices. Then we saw, and I always say their name wrong, the GHA or HGA. I can't ever get it right. No one can get in. No, every day we see in our card chat, there's 10 guys that get pissed off because they tried to get in and they couldn't get in. So, you know, like, even though those are cool, it's not really an option. So my point is, like, when we look at all this stuff, I think I might have been wrong, because initially I was pretty upset with PSA for stopping, you know, taking the orders and, you know, especially for raising the prices. But now when I kind of am even just like a week away from it, I already can see that it's helping them catch up, because we saw what happened with your order and with my order. So that's one good thing. And then second, on top of that, it's going to get like keep my wheel going. So much to your point, like if you're trying to pay for grading by selling cards that you graded, you can't have them just stop sending them to you, because then you're paying out without anything back. So what's been encouraging to me is, like, if we get some of those cards back, by the time they open up, I'll have been able to sell those to raise money to maybe grade more once they're back open. So now looking back at it like a week later, it really does kind of seem like they made the right decision.
No, I don't like, even back then, like, I watched it a couple of times, and because I like to listen to myself talk. So when I watch it, I don't think that, or I guess I hope that it wasn't came across like I wasn't mad at PSA for doing it. I thought it was a huge.
I didn't get that from you, buddy. I just heard it from a lot of other people. I mean, there was every message that I saw was screw PSA, screw, like, just bam, just they hate you. This is them dicking you over, and I mean, that's not the case. Like, at least in my opinion, like, it does suck. It sucks no matter what, because it slows everything down. But they were never going to catch up ever.
Yeah,
like,
that's true. Yeah. And I don't disagree with that. Like, I completely entirely agree. They were never going to catch up, because people are going to keep sending it. And just like, you know, what did they say? Don't buy the hand that feeds you. Our mentality is to buy the hand that feeds us, because that's where the food is coming from. So we think if we eat the hand, then we're never going to be hungry again, or whatever else is. But it's a deep metaphor there. I don't think it was a bad.
We're getting deep on the subject. That's okay.
Yeah,
that's what the people want.
Yeah, with PSA, I would just wish they would have given people more of an official notice instead of a rumor, you know. Because, like,
I agree with that as well. I mean, because there's guys who are dropping millions of dollars on subs with them every year because of their group subs. I mean,
exactly.
You know, so I agree. And from what I understand from the research I've done, I don't think anyone knew, even the big spenders.
Yeah, and like nobody knew. And for I hate group subs. I grade group subs because I hate having a middleman. Like, I don't know if you ever sold drugs, but like the sold drugs, like the best job is the middleman. But if you can cut out the middleman, then you cut out that cost. I guess drugs is a really bad analogy.
And even doing, as somebody who does it, I agree with you. That's why I try to pass it on at cost, because like there's no point to pay me to do something that anyone can do. Now, there seems to be a reason for it, just because PSA makes you do it in quantity of 10. So if you're a guy who doesn't have 10 cards, you know, maybe you hop in a group sub. But, you know, I would encourage anyone, once you become familiar with the process, to start trying to do it yourself. Because like you said, Francis, it's not, you know, that hard to learn. But maybe to start with a group sub, because guys like, you know, that have done it before really can help, you know, those who haven't, you know, learned the way. But I'm with you, Francis. Like, you know, there's no reason why Bubblegum and Leather have to submit cards for someone. All I do is look at them, package them nicely,
make sure the corners, one of the corners is not cut out.
You know, exactly. So maybe look at once and say, why did you send this? But I mean, that there doesn't have to be a Bubblegum and Leather to do that. That anybody can do that.
Yep, and I think like you're exactly right. Like anybody can do it. I think it benefits us like collectors, like actual collectors. Like if you have a card at UPC and that's your one card, then submit it through a group submission, because you're not going to flip that card. You're not doing it for the sense of the business for it. And really quick, to the people that are listening to the podcast, if you guys have any questions into it, dude, reach out to myself, InTheBox Collection. Reach out to you, Bubblegum and Leather, because you have experience now. Like I know that what I send, now I'm like looking at it. Like I'm looking at it. I don't look at it for too long because then it just looks familiar. But I'll scan it. I'll take a picture of it. I'll make sure that
the scanner. I mean, you hit on it. That's huge, because that picks up things that we can't see with our eyes. You know, that kind of stuff.
It's what the scanner can pick up. It's absolutely fucking crazy. Even like more than the lighting, which probably the reason why HGA is getting so big, because they just use the scanner for it. Real quick, HGA, I fucking hate it. Like, bruh, I get it. We got 21 spots, and next week we got 22 and 23 and 24 and 25. So I'm just gonna wait till there's an excess of like spots available, so that way I'm not there like click and refresh on my shit. Oh man, I made it 20,000 into it, but there's only like 10,000 are allowed, or I don't know the exact number. But I like HGA. I like calling him HGH because he's a steroid. But I like him. I just don't have the time for it. It's like I don't have the time to like sit there on my computer. So for anybody that does, I work.
I don't know who does that works. I mean, and no offense to those that are unemployed. I know some unemployed right now, not by their own choice. I understand that. But like, if you're working, or even if you're, how do you sit there and try to get in on that all day? I don't know.
If you work that 9 to 5 and you're up at 5:30 and you feed the kids by 6 and they're at like at 6:45, you're just fucking there refreshing. Props to you. Congratulations, man. Like, enjoy it. By the way, real quick, I'm going to backtrack just a little bit, because SGC, also when I exploded on them, there's a lot of frustration there. But SGC did put out a statement out. Like, it wasn't easy to find. But when you go to the SGC website, like I can show you right now, which it was something that it makes me want to submit again to SGC, because the way they communicate with their people, in a sense. Because remember when we did the PSA video, we went to the PSA website, we looked at them, and we're like,
absolutely.
There was nothing aside from the price range into it. Like, there was nothing there. So this is the SGC website. If you read the update, which I know a lot of us does not know how to read.
Their pitch is fantastic. I mean, like, I read this. I think you might have shared it, Francis. And I read the. I mean, it's spot on. Go ahead and talk about it. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it's very good.
No, you're fine. Like, I want you to interrupt me, because honestly, I interrupt you all the time. But the point is that I can't do it because I broke my mouse. So if you guys look at this statement, if you guys read it, okay, so here you go. Okay, so it tells you blah, blah, blah. They're experiencing, they said they had like a 500% increase of it, which I said it was nothing into it. But at the same time, really 500% is really not that big when you think about it, based on a grading company, which means 500% is great, but it's not like the 500% compared to like PSA. They don't tell you how many cards we're getting before to how many cards you're getting now, because they could have been getting like 5 cards a week, and now they're getting, what's 500% of whatever. The point is that without quantity, we don't know what the 500% really means. That's my economic, whatever. We're going to skip that one. Okay. But the point is, it tells you here that they're going to raise it from 25 to 75. But then also, it does tells you, like right here, this third paragraph, I'm a blah, blah. If you guys are in the Army, it is SGC, blah, 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 page 1, -TM, whatever else is. It's a joke from Army people. Please understand that this is temporary and we will continue to burn an unmatched rate. Although I cannot pinpoint exactly when it will take place, SGC will be lowering their prices as soon as we feel we can effectively meet the demand. Until then, we will continue to grow this amazing team, expand our operation, blah, 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 giving themselves credit. But point being with SGC, they put out a memo. They said they were going to lower their prices back. Now, did they do it in a way that kind of fucked everybody else over at the timing of it? Yes. But then again, GMA did the same thing like 12 hours later because they completely stopped their economy, right? And they raised their prices. And we still don't know what's going to happen with the new logos. So yeah. But yeah, I guess we turn the podcast into a weekend of hobby kind of concept for us.
Well, yeah, and I did, it was interesting because you were bringing up, as it relates to baseball and
that's true.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating to think about kind of now the cards that we're looking at and turnaround times and, something that we might have thought was a good candidate to send in just because somebody had a good weekend, opening weekend. Now we might not because, we can't with PSA, but with others you can't because of the price increase. So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. But you're right. We have a lot of other sports topics to talk about. And I know we want to talk some NBA too. So where do you want to head next?
So with NBA, man, honestly, I want to just put out to the people that I don't know if we forgot about it or maybe if we're not thinking about it, but this is like a 72 game season. Am I wrong? 72 game, right?
You're correct.
72 games. Yep. I know the Celtics are 25-25, which means that they have 22 games left to the season. A lot of the teams are reaching that last stretch. I want to call it the last quarter, but 75 divided by 3 or divided by 4 is not really the last quarter for it. But with the NBA, it's coming to that point where we're really starting to notice the teams that are going to be playoff teams. Unfortunately, your Pacers, they did have an all-star and they fell out. I don't know what happened there. But Caris LeVert is back and he's balling out. But I think that
they
now
anyway. I don't want them to make the playoffs. Yeah, go ahead.
Pacers to the draft, right? I think it's important that this is the time. Like, I haven't watched a lot of NBA because I do feel like, first of all, I think what's his name? Thomas said this. There are a whole bunch of crybabies, and they are like half of the first season of the NBA. It's a lot of emotions these guys need to let out, right? I don't know. LeBron James flopping everywhere, but coming down to the last 22 games, 25 games for some teams, like we're going to see some teams really rise up to the challenge. We're going to see the Hornets probably fall out of the playoffs. Maybe if LaMelo comes back or if Gordon comes back as well, but it's not. This is the time being like this is like we're pre-gaming for the real party of the NBA, and I just want to throw it out to the people. Like, it's about time we start watching the NBA. Like 22 gets out. Like, this is the time.
This is when it usually starts to get really good. Teams typically, get out of that post All-Star hangover, and they start to really focus on playoff seeding. You have that, and you might understand this better than me, but you have the impact of that 9-10. That didn't used to be in play before. So that may make it a little more competitive down the stretch than we've seen in past years where you have a lot of teams tanking. You might not have quite as many this year, but I mean, I think you're right. This is when you'll see a lot of guys come back from injury because they want to get in shape for the playoffs. You'll start to see those 10-day playoff signings that we talk about. We've seen some already, those buyout guys. This
everybody's for the Nets.
Really good.
You're absolutely right, man. The buyout market is huge. But yeah, like I said, this is the time that gets exciting. Like I get texts from everybody's like, "Hey, man, is the NBA not very fun to watch?" And I'm like, "Not yet, man. Like, you have to like let people walk into their own." The thing with the tournament, the whole 9 and 10, I like it and I don't. I think it's the NBA's response to the NFL adding the 17th game of the season, which I don't think is a bad idea either. Which we should probably talk about at some other time, but we'll talk a little bit closer to the NBA draft. to the NFL draft. My bad. But I think it's good because we always complained that there was that one team that if it would have had a chance, it would have became a Cinderella, right? But then again, I could care less about it because like teams like the Warriors, right? So the Warriors are going to be rebuilding. Let's be honest here. You can't expect the Warriors to go back to the Splash Bros with a Klay Thompson that's missed what 2 out of the last 3 years. They don't have the same. They're older, they're wiser, they're better players. They're better. They can be better overall players, but you can't go back to that formula of the Splash Brothers, right?
No, and yeah, there's not the same team anymore either. There's no Iguodala. They have some of the same parts, but most of their backups are different.
Yeah, like the only same parts that they have is they still have Draymond Green, they still have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. That's like the only people or the only players that were there when they were, winning championships, balling out on the come up, right? Sean Livingston was a huge player for them. They don't have a Sean Livingston to come off the bench. Shout out to James Wiseman, who's having a great rookie season, but at the same time, he's still a rookie. He still has like a learning curve, NBA curve, and everything else for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, they even guys that played minor roles for them have moved on. And if you have that much turnover, it's just hard to like keep that consistency. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. If I were them, I don't think I'd be pushing too hard to try to get in, this kind of tournament. So
it's like a team like that. I'm pretty sure like the team itself, like the players, they want to go back because the players want to win, right? Management is somewhere out there like, yo, bro, we need to ship Steph Curry to the Lakers so we can get some draft picks because we know LeBron James doesn't really he's not very involved in the draft. He doesn't like new guys. So Steph Curry to the Lakers next year, so watch out for that. And the Lakers will get their other championship. But, the Warriors are one team that you don't really want to see in the playoffs in the first place. They're not going to make it very far. They don't have the team. They don't have the defense for it. So, if the Warriors fall out, then you have like the Pelicans, Zion making the playoffs. You can have, different storylines like the Sacramento Kings. If they can make the playoffs, it would do great for the Kings. It would do great for Luke Walton, for the Aaron Fox, and most important for Tyrese Halliburton. So.
Well, when you look at the West this year, it's probably more wide open than it has been in a long time. So, I mean, Who knows? Maybe somebody gets hot as a 6 seed or a 7 seed. And, it's not like unfathomable if LeBron doesn't come back strong and AD gets hurt. The Lakers aren't going to be there. And I think that could be open for the taking because it's still the Jazz, right? The Jazz are still leading the way.
So the Jazz, I got the conference right now. I got the standings put up right now. Which what I always found like when we first started podcasting, I always thought that the people that were like the professionals that were always did it, they always had everything memorized. Everything was already scripted. Not necessarily scripted, but everything was already like memorized to like a huge degree for it. And then I realized how much easier it is to just have it pulled up. Like man, like just I can't change my view for it because I broke my mouse. Okay, but as of right now, I'll tell you guys the Jazz are the first seed, 38-11. Winning streak of 9, another huge winning streak about another huge winning streak for the Jazz. The Suns are next, 34-14. So the Jazz are in, Suns are there, Clippers are 33-18. And then you have the Nuggets and then the kind of Lakers for Blazers, blah, 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 blah. But real quick, speaking of the Jazz, they're still pretenders. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, if the Jazz win the championship, I'll be really happy. But it's not like a realistic to me. Is that bad?
It's still hard for me to believe that they're leading the way. I keep waiting for them to have like a 10-game losing streak, and fall down, and it just hasn't happened.
Oh, that would be some savage stuff. Like, they would have a 10-game losing streak and fall out of the playoffs.
I don't know who scores all their points. Like, I don't understand it. Like, so I understand that they have Rudy Gobert and I understand they have Donovan Mitchell, but I look at once you get past that, and I don't like they're starting Royce O'Neal. They still have Joe Ingles. Mike Conley's washed up. It simply does not make sense to me how they're that good.
I think one thing that's benefiting the Jazz is one, they're healthy. Like
they've missed very few games to injury.
Exactly. And last year, with Mike Conley being gone for a very long time due to injury, and also the simple fact that he was also in a new role as a backup point guard, going from like a start player going down to a bench player. I think that was a huge like awakening for him, and now he's more comfortable in that role and different things like that. Actually, I don't know. Like, just like you said, I like the Jazz, I like watching them play. I don't know how they made it. I'm happy for them. You link your video, send out for a second. Oh, I think you're about to be back in a second. So yeah, I don't know. Like I like him. I'm not gonna beat a dead horse and tell you like yeah, but completely tell you honest, I'll summarize what I think were the Jazz for you. The Jazz are the Toronto Raptors from back in the day, from a couple years ago, when they had Lowry and DeMar DeRozan, and they had a squad, right? And they were at the top of the East the whole time.
But that's kind of a great analogy because the Jazz team doesn't have a Kawhi. So how are they going
to win? I'm not sure. I still think like they don't play well to matchups. They don't play well against the Nuggets. They don't play well against versatile centers. And you can't tell me that they do because Rudy Gobert's not going to go out there and shoot the three or make a player come out there. And I think that's really where they lose a lot of their advantage. I'm pretty sure I've seen DeAndre Ayton take threes. And if not, it's Aaron Baines.
No, I'm pretty sure he does. Maybe like one a game.
Yeah, which is enough. Like, it's respectable. It's more than Ben Simmons takes. But that's the thing about it. It's like in the regular season, it's a different monster. Plus, if everybody's like sleeping on you and nobody really cares for you, they'll let you like get the win. Like you'll win the 50-50 games. And I think this is when it comes to like basketball, you have to win the 50-50 games, which the Jazz, they have proven that they can win the 50-50 games and they can beat the teams that they should. Like the Jazz should not be losing to any team that is not a playoff team, right? And they're not doing that, which works out for them.
Well, and you're right. I mean, they still could be the great regular season team that, whatever in the playoffs, but having home court will be big for them. And especially if they start letting fans in by the time, we get to playoff time. Because regardless of what you think about the Utah fans and what some of the things they've done, to different folks, it is a hard to play for sure.
Yep, it is. And like we always point out like the bad apples of every concept. Like we always talk about like the bad Jazz fans. We don't talk about the good ones, but there's a lot of great Jazz fans. I know a bunch of them. We all have great arguments about why the Jazz suck, and I usually win because just kidding. No, like I'm a Jazz fan. I like watching the Jazz play
because they don't have Andre Karolinko anymore.
Yeah, probably right. Mehmet Okur. They should have brought back Carlos Boozer. Since if they let Taj Gibson play, they should let Carlos Boozer come back and play. But whatever.
They kind of look like the same guy. Has anyone ever seen them in the same place? I have not.
You're actually true. And it's funny because Carlos Boozer used to play for the Bulls. And now Taj Gibson. Right? So, one of the Morris
twins. But in different times. So, in theory.
In different times. Yeah, different times. So we talked about the West. We can talk about the East, which I have nothing good to say about it. In my opinion, the Heat are going to come out of the East. I don't care what anybody says. I'm picking the Heat over it. I was afraid of the Victor Oladipo trade, and I was wrong, and I'm happy about it. But like, in terms of small lineups, like the Heat are scary. Like they are scary.
Well, and I think the Heat now probably have decided to play for real. We've seen them really play well over the last 30 or 45 days, and now they have some reinforcements. They can get some guys some rest. They have some young of the year here to kind of save some of their legs for the playoffs. But another team that has impressed me that's I feel like coming on strong, kind of at the right time is the Nets, even though I cannot stand them. They're just beating people like a drum every night, and I think it's going to be hard to stop them in the playoffs.
I agree with you. Like the Nets are like the definition of a juggernaut team because they are what you want when it comes to like your ideal like dream team into it. But at the same time, to me, they don't have any quality wins. Like they lost to the Jazz, which would be like their main contenders for the West, right? They beat the Celtics. a couple weeks ago when the Celtics were not. The Celtics are still like going through like a rough patch.
That's not a quality win, no matter who plays or doesn't play. They're under 500. We can't consider that a quality.
Yeah, and like don't get me wrong, like the Celtics are about to like watch out for the Celtics. I still think the Heat are going to come out. Michael's going to be mad at me, but that's okay, bro. I'm picking the Heat over it. He can get over it. I can get over it. Obviously, I'm picking the Heat to come out of the East. But I don't think
any team in the East even putting up much of a fight against any of those teams in the West, as long as their West teams are healthy.
Yeah. And yeah, I think, honestly, if it comes down to it and it's the Heat versus the Jazz, I'm going to be so torn and I'm going to pick the Heat anyways to win it. And Jimmy Butler is going to get his championship. Woo! I don't like the Nets. I feel like they're just.
I would be happy too. Because all my Tyler Hero cards would be worth twice as much as they are now.
I got some for you too. So
I know. We're supposed to be working on something there.
Yeah. Precious Achiuwa should not be slept on. He's not on the Rookie of the Year conversation, but what he's doing is he's turning into probably one of the. He's a quality player that is out there to grind, and he knows what the bigger picture is. That is
Am
not.
I a hater though because I hate this rookie class? Like I'm just so down on this rookie class now that LaMelo's hurt and Quickly's pulled off, and I don't know. I
like this rookie class. I feel like this rookie class they have overcome a lot, right? I mean, imagine if they would have had like a tournament, right? If they would have had the Final Four tournament and they would have had the combine and a couple more things that the new guys or the usually the guys who usually get for them. And then imagine if they would have had like a preseason where they get a chance to like warm up. People will actually get to see Obi Toppin start a game with it quickly, right? And the same thing for some of the other guys. But it's nobody knows, like we know who the rookies are because we collect their cards and we know that there's a market for rookie cards. But there's a lot of NBA fans out there and a lot of like become like day one fans or like fake fans or simp fans, like even like LeBron James fans. But like there's a lot of guys out there that people have never heard of because they just watch the big names. Right,
so they don't watch the national TV games.
Yeah, like if I watch the Kings, I'm not watching De'Aaron Fox. I'm watching to see what Tyrese Halliburton is going to do. Like that kid has great potential.
What about Robert Woodard? He's over there shaking his head, man. Like, come on, Francis, check me out. James Ramsey's like, what do I have to do?
Yeah, right. Here? And that's kind of what I'm saying is like those are the guys that like I like watching them because then one day somebody's gonna see them like top 10 and be like, oh my gosh, Robert Woodard, James Ramsey, Isaac Okoro does not get enough credit. That dude has the attitude of a winner, right? And those guys, they don't get enough credit for it. At the end of the day, they don't get enough credit for it. And like that's the guys that I liked watching it. So for me, I think it's a great class. I think in like 2 to 3 years. People are going to stop calling it the LaMelo Ball class and really start getting to know these guys by their actual name for it. So, in my opinion,
and I mean, that's probably fair. We do need to give them a little bit longer of a leash, but boy, is it just kind of tanking the card stuff right now because there's not really anyone that we can throw our hats on and say, oh, maybe Halliburton, but even his stuff isn't really worth what I think it should be. I mean, he's probably, I would say he's in the top 2 rookie of the year. I would say. I'm
pretty sure. Like now that LaMelo's out, or I guess people are already giving it to LaMelo in the first place. People are already like giving it to LaMelo Ball as the rookie of the year. But Anthony, can you imagine like if Anthony Edwards was not with the Timberwolves? Like, can you imagine if Anthony Edwards went to? If he would have gone to the Knicks. If Anthony Edwards would have gone anywhere else,
the year shoe in.
Yeah,
he
right.
Was on the Knicks.
Nothing against the Timberwolves, by the way, but I feel like that the Timberwolves just always have a lot going on. Like they always have a lot going on that is not good for their players. Like Kevin Love was an all-star over there, but people didn't really know who Kevin Love was till he went to Cleveland. Kevin Garnett.
That's like a wasteland, man. A basketball wasteland.
I mean, if the boy Wally Szczerbiak did not get to be a Hall of Famer,
out Miami, Ohio,
right? Wally should have been a Hall of Famer for the things what he was doing, right? Sam Cassell went to the Timberwolves.
Sam Cassell,
right? Latrell Sprewell played for the Minnesota Timberwolves to try to get that team out of there. Am I wrong?
Michael Olowokandi.
Yeah, right. Who was the other? Who was the other like steroids, jacked up Russian that used to play next to Kevin Love? Also averaging like 20 and 20 per game when Kevin Love was there.
Petrovich or something like that. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, that guy was a beast. Like, but nobody knows who he is. Like, the dude was like, what, 6'10", 6'11", 270 pounds, purely and entirely pure muscle. Next to Kevin Love. Yeah, Nikolai Pekovic. Yeah, that dude was great. Like, that dude was a beast for it. I got like 5 more minutes. Sorry, I got carried away. So NBA, people start watching it. The Brooklyn Nets. Okay, back. Sorry for the tangent. So to finalize my comment on the Brooklyn Nets, the Brooklyn Nets are like, they're so hyped. They have a great marketing team. That's what I call the Brooklyn Nets are like the Bang Energy of the NBA. They have all the hot models, the flashy shit, the people that work out, the Instagram shit, like all the flashy shit, like the people with the most followers in the world. And real quick, can we stop glamorizing Blake Griffin? Like, he dunked the fucking ball. He jumped over a car a couple years ago. Like, why? Why are we glamorizing Blake Griffin?
Everyone loves Blake Griffin. I do not understand.
They're treating Blake Griffin like if it was a rookie that just figured out how to like dribble a ball. And I'm like, dude, he's been doing that shit for years.
It's kind of like, it's probably like, and this is kind of sad, but it's probably like when someone like has to relearn how to walk. I mean, Blake Griffin has been terrible for like 3 years. So the fact that he's doing anything good is probably very shocking.
I completely and entirely disagree with you. Blake Griffin, it's an above average player that went to a shitty team that was really bad. The Detroit Pistons, I don't think anybody can really name 2 players that played with him while he was there. Like, I can't.
Probably not. Reggie Jackson and Luke Kennard.
And Reggie Jackson like left, and Luke Kennard was there for like, yo, I am the guy that also played with Lonzo Ball at UCLA. Something just vibrated. But the point is, Blake Griffin was supposed to be an all-star with the Clippers. He said that he was a franchise player, that he was the man, right? Then they gave him that opportunity when he went to the Detroit Pistons, and what happened? He took him to the playoffs like one time, maybe? I don't think so. He did it because he went there after that year. So he went to a shitty team. He couldn't turn it in. He was playing point guard. Like, Blake Griffin was doing everything for that team, and he was still doing great things, but you can't just do great things with the Pistons and expect people to like shine a light on you, because it is the Pistons, unfortunately. Andre Drummond was there for a little bit, right? I think he was injured for something.
Yeah, but I mean, he wasn't, we see what's happened to him since he left. That's not that
exactly much. Right. So with Blake Griffin, like, I get it. I'm happy that he's back. He's a great dunker, great flashy player, but also has a history of choking in the playoffs. So, but you know who was a great guy that used to play for the Clippers and now plays for a different team during the Blake Griffin area? Chris motherfucking Paul. You know what he did?
Sure.
He went to shitty teams and he made them into playoff teams twice with the Thunder.
I mean, this year, that's probably going to be the team I root for in the West, which we can talk about on another pod. But I am like pumped for the Suns, man. They're like the little engine that could.
Yeah, right. And so sorry for the Blake Griffin fans. The Nets are like just flashy, man. Chris Bang Energy. Personally, maybe it's like my personal opinion, but I don't like Bang Energy drinks. I think I was there with the hype when it all got started. And now I'm over here like, brah, this thing is a fucking heart attack walking in a can. And I used to drink Four Locos with the young guys. And brah, Bang Energies, man, that is some true shit right there. That's the real deal. So, okay.
I haven't gotten in on the Bang Energies. Maybe they can be our sponsor, future sponsor.
Well, I said just shit it on them and call them a shitty energy drink with nice models and
doesn't matter.
Workout guys and steroids. Oh, cool. I mean, just like I said, we're black ball for a reason, but then again, we make shit happen. Give the next couple minutes as we reach the end of the podcast. Let's. What are some of your closing statements? You can summarize everything that we talked about. You want to give it what are your closing statements for us, for the people?
Well,
for the
so we've talked about baseball. Baseball's back. Don't sleep on baseball. I think that it's going to be huge this year. I'm excited to open some baseball cards. Check out, like Francis said, please subscribe on his YouTube, InTheBox Collection. check us out on Spotify, Bubblegum and Leather, Inside the Bubble. This will be on both. And we ran out of time, man. We had too much to talk about.
Yeah, that's true. We did, but it was nice. It was long overdue, and I think we kept it pretty on topic this time around compared to the usual how we do it.
That's true. We kind of have three main things: baseball, PSA, and / every grading company, and then NBA.
Right, which is like the major sports. We don't need to talk about football; it hasn't started, and tennis and golf are their own different monsters. My closing statements would be: first of all, thank you so much for appearing on the podcast. Please check out Andrew Bubblegum and Leather, buy his T-shirts, so that way we can buy more cards and donate to different foundations and stuff like that. My closing statement is: when it comes to the NBA, people, this is the time to start watching the NBA. Take advantage of the NBA League Pass. I guess we're promoting NBA League Pass right now. Or check out some
I have
free
League Pass. Yeah, they can be our sponsor.
I get my shit for free. So look out for the Miami Heat, look out for the Boston Celtics. When it comes to grading and the card networks, everything is a learning curve. If anybody's getting brand new to the cards, dude, reach out to a good mentor that is not gonna scam you, which is pretty much just a bunch out there, and there's a bunch of good guys out there as well. But be patient and don't rush into it and buy NBA Prism for like $2,000.
Yes, be smart with your money.
Yeah. And if you're gonna submit some shit, make sure you check out the corners. Make sure one of the corners is not bitten off by your kid.
Don't do what I did and just assume it's been in a top loader, so it's fine.
Oh yeah, you gotta take it out of the top loader. I love it. I love top loaders. I top load everything because I feel like it just makes me feel better. But sometimes I just look at a car on a top loader and I'm like, brah, somebody fucked up.
Yeah, I agree. I've said that. Yep.
All right, man. Well, I got to get back to adulthood and responsibilities, and you got to get back to work. Thank you guys for watching In the Box Collection. Make sure you guys check out Andrew, Bubblegum and Leather. Check us out In the Box. Thanks for this. Yeah, man. Anything? Did we miss anything, by the way?
No, there's going to be another one, so we'll catch it next time.
All right, you guys have a good day. Thank you. And
thank you, Francis. Always appreciate you.